Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? What's going on with you? Big West, you already know. You already know how the show goes. The light my cigar. And we get on into it. What we're doing today, I'm going to do like a series kind of sort of thing where I'm going over the people that Trump hired, right? There may be some people who might not know exactly what's going on with it. And I'm learning something at the same time. So I like this. I just started actually looking at politics and things like that. So this is a learning experience for me. What I've seen so far, I like. Oh, excuse me. So what we're smoking today is one of our favorites. Solomon shape. This is La Gloria Cubana. And what is this name? Somebody's it's like different people name on each one. Cold draw is good. So this Matt GAETZ guy, man. Who is he? Where'd he come from? Is he real? He's real. He's I think he's a great pick. I think Trump did an awesome job. This is definitely somebody you would want on your team. He's one of them guys. But you don't want him on anybody else's team. You don't want to go against this guy in the field type shit. But he's awesome. He's kind of like he's got a little Jack Nicholson, almost Leonardo DiCaprio kind of vibe. But he doesn't take any bullshit. He's like let's just get into it. All right. So pull up. Where's he at? We're gonna be going over him. In the next video, we're gonna go over the Pete Hegseth guy. Right. Pete Hegseth, a lot of people don't like him, but he's also a great pick. You gotta give it to him, man. Trump picks winners, man. He picks fucking winners, bro. And I think that's what he did this time. Let me see. Really couldn't get a good music vibe tonight. So let's see. We're going to go right here. First, we're going to get into who this guy is. Comes from money. A lot of the people Trump, and there's a reason why Trump did that. They come from money. It'll be harder to buy them. Just like him. He had money, so it was hard for them to buy him. I see why he picked the people that have money. If you already got money, you already got millions, you're not going to be tainted by it. Fucking smart. All right, so where we at? Let's look at this. All right. So let's just do a little brief introduction of who he is before we get to him kicking ass in the courtroom, all right?
Congressman Matt GAETZ has had quite the year. As it was widely reported, the Justice Department is investigating whether he had a sexual relationship with a minor and paid her to travel with him across state lines.
So just real quick, so a lot of people are skeptical, like, it's getting old, it's getting played out. Whenever you see a man progressing or doing something, here comes some bitch. Oh, he fucking touched me. Yeah, like you didn't say anything when it happened. Like we're getting tired of that bullshit. That's exactly what it is. People have finally seen it enough, and they're like, man, these bitches are just so annoying with this shit. This isn't fucking 1980, 1970, 50s. Like, this is 2024, bitch. If you feel like a nigga raped you, take your ass down to the fucking precinct. Pardon my language. Back to the shit.
Which could violate sex trafficking laws. He's also faced a litany of similar allegations and accusations around inappropriate treatment of women. GAETZ denies all wrongdoing and maintains that he and his family have been the victims of a, quote, organized criminal extortion involving a former Department of Justice official seeking $25 million while threatening to smear my name, end quote. If this were the case, could GAETZ and his family even fulfill such a high demand? Well, according to our figures, they technically could. Forbes estimates GAETZ and his parents are worth around $30 million, based on financial disclosures filed with the state of Florida and the U.S. House of Representatives. Matt Gaetz reported assets of $235,000 to $625,000 on his most recent congressional disclosure form, which requires representatives to list most but not all of their holdings. His parents, Don and Victoria Gaetz, however, are among the top 1%. Don had reported the couple's net worth was $29.6 million as of June 2020, according to a document he submitted to the state's.
So that's enough. As we see, this guy comes from money. All right. So he comes from money, which logically speaking, that it would make sense because he cannot be bought, which is a good thing. Just like Trump. They were mad at Trump because they couldn't offer this motherfucker no money. They couldn't buy him. So to surround yourself with a team that is like similar, they come from money, they're not going to be beggars. You know, they see $1 million, they don't go, oh my God, you know. So that was smart. So now let's get into some what some people think about this guy.
In American history. I know Matt well. We served together in the legislature in Florida. In fact, Matt was the one who was part of the transition team of Ron DeSantis, who helped get me appointed as the director of emergency management in the state of Florida. And so, you know, Trump was very clear on what he wanted to do with government. And in Matt Gaetz, he is going to get a very competent, very powerful attorney general.
So what do you think he is going to do as AG, if confirmed?
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously he's got a boss in Donald Trump, but anyone thinking that Donald Trump was just ready to move forward, that is clearly not the case. And so, you know, at the end of the day, this is what happens. Elections have consequences. You know, we talked about this during the election.
So he's highly respected, right? People respect that about you know, politicians and leaders and somebody representing somebody well respected. Now we're gonna get to see this motherfucker in action. You ready?
The gentleman from Florida is recognized.
No, Mr. Speaker, I made a point of order. You have to rule on the point of order.
The gentleman will state his point of order.
The gentleman has an obligation to address the chair, not other members. He did not do that. He was out of order, violating the decorum of the House.
The gentleman has not stated a proper point of order.
A parliamentary inquiry, then. I seek recognition to make a parliamentary inquiry.
The gentleman will state his parliamentary.
What is the parliamentary mechanism that requires an individual to address the chair? Because if it's not that, we can address each other. Let's do that for the rest of the debate.
The chair will not engage in this dialogue. Would the gentleman like to be recognized first?
I want to be recognized for a parliamentary inquiry.
The gentleman is not recognized.
I'm not recognized for a parliamentary inquiry? I'm not recognized for a parliamentary.
I don't think this nigga know what the fuck a parliamentary entry is. He got this look on his face like he don't know what the fuck this kid is talking about. Little backstory. He's debating someone and the guy said some slick shit to him and addressed him personally instead of addressing who they call the chair. So he's like, yo, if we're going to do this shit for the rest of the debate, let me know. And he's requesting something called a parliamentary entry. I don't know what the fuck that is either, but I'm not supposed to. But the guy that's up there, that's the chair, that's running this shit, he doesn't fucking know. Which is, yeah, that guy, he doesn't fucking know.
Debate.
The chair will not engage in this dialogue. Would the gentleman like to be recognized first?
I want to be recognized for a parliamentary inquiry.
The gentleman is not recognized.
I'm not recognized for a parliamentary inquiry? I'm not recognized for a parliamentary inquiry?
The chair will not engage with the gentleman.
I have a parliamentary inquiry.
Nobody knows what the fuck he's talking about. That is embarrassing. That is fucking embarrassing. Wow. Somebody has to go up there. Let me type this shit in. That's fucked up. So a parliamentary inquiry is a request for information from a member of a deliberative assembly to the presiding officer about parliamentary law or the rules of the organization. So he's basically requesting the rules. The purpose of the parliamentary inquiry is to help members understand parliamentary matters and make informed decisions. Shit. He's a dick. He wants the fucking rules to show the nigga, yo, you can't do what you did. And the fucking guy don't know what the fuck he's talking about. That's crazy. Oh, man. How long are they going to take? Does he ever get it?
Will state his inquiry.
Will the chair encourage members to address the chair and rather than one another?
That's all you wanted. It was the rules. It was the fucking rules.
The chair encourages all members to address the chair and not one another.
Very well. I seek
Thank you.
recognition.
The gentleman is recognized.
Mr.
Can you be respectful? Can we have a debate without
Yeah.
doing that?
The gentleman from Florida is.
So the guy he's arguing with is this guy.
Is exhausting. Just this week, the sponsor of this amendment called diversity, equity, and inclusion in the military a, quote, failed experiment.
So he's arguing with, broke wrist type shit. So, all right. Another one here. Oh, I got it. Dub, what up? Didn't Matt Tower? Nah, man. He chose this motherfucker here. He chose this dude. This guy is good, man. This guy is good, man. This guy is good. Like,
Sorry, not sorry.
Rooted in an upbringing once featured on
Has incited far more political violence than the right.
Congressman Matt Gaetz, bombastic, antagonistic, unapologetic.
My fellow patriots, don't be shy and don't be sorry.
The 38-year-old Republican from Florida has only been in Washington for 4 years. But his flair for drama has captured national attention.
You weren't elected by anybody.
Gaetz's theatrical style
Our citizens come first, sorry, not sorry.
Rooted in a
This motherfucker only been there, only been there 4 years. Only been there 4 years. And shaking shit up like a fucking veteran. Like that's like them damn veteran officers on the job and shit. Talking shit, cursing out depths and shit. I'll never forget the first time I ever saw an officer curse out a dep. I was standing there like, he said, that motherfucker ain't gonna say that. That motherfucker need me. He don't know shit. I said, all right. He said, if he pissed me off, I'm gonna give him a long night. And, you know, you really can't be fucking with somebody if you don't know shit. So let me see. Dub, are you still there? I was gonna try to Google to see exactly. Let me see. Did Matt this nigga name? Gates. Silence and began to think. Yeah, he won, bro. He won. Yeah, he won. Look. The APS called the race. Matt Gaetz wins. He won. Yeah, man, he took it. So what else we got here? Oh yeah. So they're pretty much trying to fuck with him with this shit with this girl.
an upbringing once featured on the big screen.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Gaetz grew up in the house used to film the movie The Truman Show.
In the mid-90s, one day, some producer just shows up in a golf cart and tells my mother that they want to make a movie in this house starring Jim Carrey.
In this white picket house in Seaside, Florida.
This is the house I grew up in, and this was my bedroom during my formative years. And voila, love America.
His mother is partially paralyzed after she suffered complications while pregnant with his sister and refused to terminate the pregnancy. It made an impression on a young Gaetz, who later said that it contributed to his anti-abortion stance when he entered politics.
So every chance I get to stand up for life, I will.
The Gaetzes were wealthy and powerful in the community. His father, Don Gaetz, made a fortune, over $25 million, through a for-profit hospice company. He eventually went into politics. Don Gaetz was elected to the Florida State House, rising to become a power player in Florida politics.
He is the new America. He is the new Republican Party.
After graduating from William and Mary Law School in 2005, Matt worked as a lawyer in Florida for only a few years until a seat opened up in the Florida State House.
There is no cause in Northwest Florida more worth fighting for than strengthening our military mission.
Matt leveraged his family name to easily win his first campaign in a special election to become a state representative in 2010.
I hope everyone's ready to cut some taxes today.
He served in the State House alongside his father for 6 years.
It is my privilege to introduce the president of the Florida Senate, a guy I know pretty well, the senator from Northwest Florida, Don Gaetz.
And took on the nickname Baby Gaetz among locals, a nod to his father's early influence.
He was in the State House. There was a cadre of.
So he's rooted in politics and in law, and he has an attitude. He's a shark in the fucking courtroom. He is now Trump's AG. This is a super pick, and he has a thing for just fucking with people. I'm about to show you. Where is it at? Let me just show you right now. Oh, that's my shit. Damn. Nah, some songs bring memories, man. Ever saw you again. All right, so here we go.
Regarding the truth or falsity of a single material fact in the Mueller report. If you have personal knowledge regarding the truth or falsity of a single material fact, just raise your hand so I can figure out who to ask the question to. So the record can reflect no witnesses have raised their hand. No witnesses have any personal knowledge regarding a single fact in the report. No witnesses last week had personal knowledge.
Will the gentleman yield? I take your point. Will the gentleman yield? Would the gentleman yield?
Well, I'll certainly yield to the chairman because I'm eager to get to the lesson.
I would remind the gentleman that there is an ongoing controversy that the White House is asserting the right to prohibit the testimony of any witness with regard to anything that happened.
I'm going to reclaim my time. I fully understand and appreciate that, Mr. Chairman.
This nigga said, I'm going to reclaim my time. Because you're saying some bullshit. I know what you're saying. Nah, I don't want to hear that shit. This guy, he has no fear. But do you know why? This comes from you being there, you seeing your dad there, like, you know, he's got his dad, you know, his dad's been doing this, you know, they got money, you know, so he's not really like, you know, people who aren't really privy to that way of life, they kind of seem to be a little bit more inferior, more what's the word I'm looking for? Easy to follow the rules. You know? This guy, I don't really think he gives a fuck, which is an asset. He knows the job, he does it well, and he doesn't give a fuck. How you tell the chairman, yo, yeah, you know, I'm reclaiming my time. You can't do like you're not supposed you can't do that. Like the chair gotta give you back your time. This nigga, oh yeah, I'm taking my time back, bitch. That's some funny shit. Hold on.
The testimony of any witness with regard to anything that happened.
I'm going to reclaim my time. I fully understand and appreciate that, Mr. Chairman.
Will the gentleman yield to my...
I will not, because I want to respond to the chairman's assertion.
Oh, shit. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you don't give a fuck about none of your shit.
The person over whom the White House can assert no privilege is Robert Mueller. And you have the power to subpoena Robert Mueller. You have used subpoena power extensively in this committee, and you won't subpoena the person who wrote the report. And so this hearing should not be entitled Lessons from the Mueller Report. It should be entitled Hot Takes from the Mueller Report, because what we're getting...
This nigga's wild. This guy's wild. This guy's an animal. He's a freaking animal. He's a freaking animal. This is a good pick, man. Because he knows his shit. He's like, yo, the only one that could do that is you. You can't bullshit him. He knows. It's like he got the shit downloaded in his brain, man.
reporting are people who have no knowledge of the facts, no information as to the underlying information. They're just reading it and offering their analysis and their hot takes. But I think that there's a far more critical issue that our committee should be addressing and that we could address. Right now, we're at a circumstance where upwards of 5,500 people are arriving every day on our southern border. And this committee has the jurisdiction to reform our asylum laws, to secure the border, to make changes to ensure that we have a country that's protected and a rule of law that's maintained. Fortunately, actually, one of our witnesses is somewhat of an expert on this subject. Ms. Cordero, you are...
He's not in order.
Ms. Cordero, you are somewhat of an expert on the activities that go on our southern border, aren't you?
I do some work related to national security and homeland security in my capacity as a senior fellow, yes.
And in 2013 for Georgetown, you wrote an essay entitled Breaking the Mexican Cartels, a Key for Homeland Security Challenge.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'm going to interrupt and say that this hearing is about part one of the Mueller investigation.
I wish it was about the Mueller report. I really...
So this is one. Oh, this is a real good one right here. Oh man, this is a real good one. This guy they could make this shit a show because very dramatic.
Lawful. There's typically greater effort to try to get those people before a grand jury to utilize criminal process where appropriate, not for other purposes. And it's just like, oh, well, Bill Priestep, the guy who might have set this whole op in motion, he just didn't want to talk to you about certain things, and you were real accommodating to that. And then Mifsud, the person who juices Papadopoulos to create this predicate that you find improper. You guys, I mean, did you ever know who his lawyer was, Mifsud's lawyer?
I talked to his lawyer in Europe. I don't know if
so wait, you could find the guy's lawyer, but you couldn't find him?
We contacted somebody that we knew had represented him, and part of the effort to try to locate him.
And you got the lawyer. And then now you're sitting here in front of the judiciary saying you could find the guy's lawyer, but you couldn't effectuate the service of a subpoena because you couldn't find him?
Well,
do you know how silly that sounds?
As you may or may not know, we wouldn't have the authority to serve a subpoena overseas. The lawyer didn't know where Mifsud was. He was in communication with him, but he claimed not to know where he was.
He was in communication with him, but he claimed not to know where he was. Right now, he's about to chew this guy's ass because this guy, he's like an FBI lead. They had some shit, FBI head. They had some shit where something was lost. A bunch of the FBI agents all erased their fucking cell phones at the same time. And the motherfucker that they're trying to get, they just, for some reason, can't find them. So they're like, the guy you were supposed to subpoena, he just disappears. The other two people that you penalized, you didn't penalize them enough. No, you lost. And then the one guy that you penalized, you didn't penalize him enough, and he's still practicing law. So it kind of looks like he's the head and he's looking out for all of the bad guys. So this young dude, this GAETZ guy, is breaking him down. Watch how he breaks down.
He was, and we were trying to arrange an opportunity to talk to Mifsud.
Did you take possession of 2 BlackBerry phones from Mifsud in any way?
There were phones that were provided to us by
so you could find the
Mifsud's
phones
lawyer.
with the guy.
Correct?
Do you see how silly this looks? Like you found the lawyer, you found the phones, but the actual dude who got ordered by Western intelligence to go start this thing you couldn't find? It's kind of laughable. It seems like more than disappointment. It seems like you weren't really trying to expose the true core of the corruption. That you were trying to go at it another way.
Yeah, as we said in the report, and as I said in my opening remarks, we pursued the facts as best we could.
Well, how about this
tools
fact?
that we have?
Okay, how about this fact, Mr. Durham? The entire Mueller team does a hard reset on their Apple phone in synchronization to wipe away evidence. Did you investigate that?
I've read that.
Well, why did you investigate it? Who gave the order on the Mueller team to wipe the phones?
Yeah, that was not something that we were asked to look at, and we didn't.
No,
look
that's
at that.
not true, Mr. Durham. That is not true because I'm holding a document that authorizes your activity, and it specifically says the investigation of Special Counsel Robert Mueller. It's in Mr. Chairman, I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record the order that says that you're supposed to investigate these things. And so, like, whether it's the Mueller team, MIFSUD, how about Azra Turk? Azra Turk, what's Azra Turk's real name? Do you know that?
I'm not going to be disclosing the names of FBI personnel that are otherwise unavailable.
This motherfucker here, you done fucked up. You look crooked, Pop. You look crooked. You're not going to divulge. What do you mean you're not going to divulge? This kid got him on the ropes. Got him on the ropes. Got him on the ropes, man.
FBI, so the FBI sends somebody to go honeypot George Papadopoulos. Who gave the order to do that?
I think that's beyond the scope of what's in the report.
It's literally the scope of what your charging order is. Who put it in motion? We get after it was put in motion, the FBI did a bunch of wrong and corrupt things. Totally understand. We're trying to deal with that. But when you are part of the cover-up, Mr. Durham, then it makes our job harder.
Yeah, well, if that's your thought, I mean, there's no way of dissuading you from that. I can tell you that it's offensive and that the people who worked on this investigation have spent their lives trying to protect the people in this country and pursue within the law what it is that we are authorized to do.
You tried 2 cases, lost both of them, and then the one guilty plea you got, Kleinsmith is back to practicing law in Washington, D.C. today.
Yeah, that's beyond my control.
Right, but the fact that you allowed that plea to occur, right, and then the punishment was insufficient, the fact that you didn't charge Andrew McCabe, you didn't convict the lying Democrats or the lying Russians, you didn't investigate MIFSUD or the Mueller probe, even though, as we sit here today in black letter, that was your charge. Have you ever heard of the Washington Generals?
The Washington Generals, yes.
Yeah, and they're the team that basically gets paid to show up and lose, right?
Well, you know, I'm sure that the players who exert blood, sweat, and tears don't view it that way, but you might.
I think they do. I think they do, because the job of the Washington Generals is to show up every night and to play the Harlem Globetrotters. And their job is to lose.
I'm sorry, of a different, I was thinking of a different.
Yeah, so their job is to lose. And I'm kind of wondering, and it just seems so facially obvious that it's not what's in your report that's telling, it's the omission, it's the lack of work you did. And for the people like the chairman who put trust in you, I think you let them down, I think you let the country down, and you are one of the barriers to the true accountability that we need.
Damn. That boy's good. That boy's good. So, I mean, this turned out to be a pretty good pick for Trump. Now, people are going nuts that he's got a lot of haters. It seems like when you make enemies, apparently he's made enemies. These guys don't really fuck with him like that. But apparently when you make enemies, they don't want to see you do anything. And he's made a lot of enemies, right? So the people are talking about him as far as the FBI. It's like, oh, he couldn't get an FBI if he wanted to because he's da-da-da-da-da. And I don't know why Trump picked him because he's a fucking beast.
The House Ethics Committee.
Good evening and welcome. Amid this week's blizzard of personnel announcements for key roles in the next administration, one name is at the center of growing debate on both sides of the political divide. Matt Gaetz, who Donald Trump wants as his attorney general, would, if confirmed by the Senate, become the nation's top cop. But there is the matter of a now closed House ethics investigation of Gaetz concerning allegations of sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, which he denies, but that has some lawmakers arguing for the release of the investigative report. While also tonight, the eyebrow-raising pick of...
So, it seems that when you're rich and powerful, the only way they can take you down is through the use of a female. It's got to be a scandal. That's the only way. That's the only way that they could beat you is through a female. So apparently there was a female who said that she had sex with him when she was 17. People aren't really paying too much attention to it because, you know, we're actually we're pretty much kind of tired of hearing this shit. You know, and if something happens to you, you need to let that shit know. You need to let people know about it like right away. Don't wait years and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what they're talking about here.
Interior Secretary.
He's going to be fantastic.
But there's growing scrutiny tonight over his selection of now former Congressman Matt Gaetz as Attorney General, with more lawmakers demanding the release of a House ethics investigation of Gaetz into allegations of sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, which Gaetz denies. The investigation ended after Gaetz resigned following his selection.
It is very important to maintain the House's tradition of not issuing ethics reports on people who are no longer members of Congress. I think it would open a Pandora's box.
But key Senate Republicans want it. And a House Democrat on the panel telling me senators in charge of confirming Gaetz should see the evidence.
I think it's essential for them to get that kind of information before they make a decision of this magnitude.
Late tonight, the attorney for a woman who testified.
What does it matter, bro? What does it matter? You see what he does in that courtroom? That's all the fuck Trump cares about. Because Trump has a specific use for him, which is in that courtroom. Doesn't have a use for him anywhere else. He has use for him in that courtroom. So he really doesn't give a fuck what you got to say about him. If it were me, I'd feel the same way. Listen, I don't give a fuck what you... Did it have anything to do with the kids? No kids? Okay, so apparently it's just you just don't like him. I know he's a fucking fire starter. You know, he shuts down chairman and all that shit in court. Y'all don't like him. It is what it is. I want him on my team. Everybody else can be bought. You know, it's crooked. All right, so, I mean, yo, the guy's still young. He's got a family. He's got money. He's going to be getting outside pussy. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit, man. Put him on my team.
Before the House Ethics Committee, telling NBC News his client told the panel she witnessed Gaetz having sex with a minor at a house party in 2017. A spokesperson for Gaetz
Okay, Gaetz is 38, 2017. This is 2024. 3210987. That's 7 years ago. So that means he was 31. So right now she'd be 24. What fucking party? What fucking party was he at? He was a millionaire 7 years ago still. What party?
sex with a minor at a house party in 2017. A spokesperson for Gaetz responding to the claim saying Merrick Garland's DOJ cleared Matt Gaetz and didn't charge him. Are you alleging Garland is part of a cover-up? And there's also new fallout tonight over Trump's pick of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for Health and Human Services Secretary.
If you like health and if you like people that live a long time, it's the most important position. RFK Jr. Bobby?
Nah, we're not getting, this isn't about Bobby tonight. Yeah, but this guy, definitely a good pick. Part of Old Boys All-Star team.
To know whether or not you consider them qualifying under the bill.
Your
and
curiosity,
I have
I would
earned
appreciate
2.5 minutes.
consistency.
And it's just a simple question. You know, Mr. Schiff, people on the border don't get to have a debate like this like you and I do. It's not your time, Mr. Schiff. I'm reclaiming my time.
Mr. Gaetz has the time. Mr. Gaetz has the time.
You do.
Mr. Gaetz has the time.
Look, on the border, someone doesn't get to have this joyful little colloquy with you. A Border Patrol agent has to look at someone and assess whether or not they're going to let them in or not. And I'm just, for clarity, even though I'm not going to support your amendment, I'm going to support the bill. In the unlikely event that your amendment were to be adopted, I simply want to know if someone encounters someone from the Kingdom Saudi Arabia, whether or not the exception that your amendment affords would allow that or not.
As I said, I'm using the existing definition, Mr. Gates. My question to you is, will you live up to your anti-communist?
So you see, here it looks like it's a quarrel between the old dog and a young pup. I'm sure they're looking at this guy climbing the ranks. They're like, yeah, man, this motherfucker only been here 4 years. He's young and listen, man, that shit don't matter apparently here with you, kid.
Rhetoric. Will you live up to your anti-communist rhetoric, or is it just a lot of talk from you, Mr. Gates?
I don't think you have to blow a hole through the asylum system to oppose communism.
I guess it's just a lot of talk with you. Nothing more than a lot of
That was whack. He said you don't have to blow a hole through the asylum process just to expose communism. True. This kid is good. He's good at arguing, man.
I just want to know if the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is included or excluded. How is this so difficult for you? Well, do you have any compassion for the people who have to make this assessment on the border? I just want to know.
Would you care for me to read the code section to you?
Gladly.
The existence of a single political party organized on a dictatorial basis with so close an identity between such party and its policies and the government policies of the country in which it exists, and the party and the government constitute an indistinguishable unit, and the forcible suppression of opposition to such party. That is how the code currently defines a totalitarian party and a totalitarian dictatorship.
Would you define them that way or not, Adam?
So if you wanted to know, read the code. But the question is not, the question is not whether you can read the code. The question is whether you stand for anything, Mr. Gates. The question is, do you stand for anything? Does anything you...
Yeah, he's standing for a lot of shit right now arguing with you. These motherfuckers are just haters, man. Like, you got to be able to recognize fucking haters, bro.
Mean anything to you.
I merely am seeking your own ability to define your own amendment.
Are you really so soft on communism now, Mr. Gates?
What?
I am shocked.
Soft on communism? You're soft on definitions within your own bill.
You would prosecute.
Soft on the basics of the English language. Soft on the interpretation statute mechanisms by which a Border Patrol agent would have to apply this. You know what? A Border Patrol agent isn't going to have this.
Mercifully, the gentleman is out of time. Mercifully, the gentleman is out of time. Okay. Woo.
Should we have unanimous consent to continue?
No, everybody's out of time. Everybody's out of time. Does anyone seek recognition?
Yields back.
They sound like bitches.
Gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this markup, it's about Hunter Biden. It's not about President Trump. I keep hearing my colleagues on the left talk about President Trump and that no one is above the law, and I keep hearing this argument.
All right. So this is one of the cocksuckers who was hating on this guy as far as the FBI and shit.
We have faced down death, famine, war to hold these lands together. You do not command the loyalty you think you do. Rebels of Rohan, arise!
We have to get our people out.
All right, yeah. Yeah.
You're stronger than I knew. Rohan still stands!
The Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, rated PG-13, only in theaters December 13th.
What are the implications of having Matt Gaetz as Attorney General?
Good morning, Casey. There's so many things that kind of jump out to you when you hear that the prospect of that nomination. But I think the first thing that really impresses me is what it says about Donald Trump's intention for the Justice Department and the FBI. Now, Matt Gaetz is obviously wholly unqualified for this job. He's someone who, I mean, quite frankly, couldn't get hired by the FBI if he was, had he ever been interested in that, which I'm sure he never was. Probably couldn't qualify for a clearance. Matt Gaetz has, by his own statement, some of those you just played, no interest in the FBI or the Department of Justice, no respect for the work that they do or for the people that do that work. He is singularly a disruptor. He is someone who's been selected because of his interest and desire to go into the organization and tear things apart, likely get rid of people, stop doing a lot of the work that the Justice Department is currently doing. And that is just, we've spent a lot of months debating whether or not Donald Trump actually means the things he says about the Department of Justice.
So that's big facts. So if you recall, we were looking at the FBI whistleblowers. You remember that? There's quite a few fucking guys who were talking about the FBI, which we'll take a look at right here. So go up in here and search. Go up here in the history. Whistleblowers. We got this guy. All right, we got this guy. Remember this guy here? You sound like he's fucking.
And I recognize myself for 5 minutes. And Mr. Allen, I'm going to give you.
American people is my warning to them. Says this is a warning to the American people. I say, I personally have no confidence that the FBI will rein in its own conduct. I've been persecuted along with Garrett, Steve and Kyle, and countless other whistleblowers. It is my opinion that the Bureau used reprisal and fear to control the workforce. It has been a seemingly effective tactic. I personally believe that there are no current effective checks and balances against them conducting lawless action with any type of correction in a legitimate time frame. I welcome the work of the IG, but I think any type of lawless action, there's no legitimate time frame to rein them back in. Their ability to overclassify information can allow them to stonewall forever. To the American people, you have a duty as a citizen to vote, and I strongly urge you to do so.
That's it, baby. So we know that there's some dirt within the FBI that needs to be cleaned up. And that is why Trump wants them. Trump needs to weed out everybody around there because he knows now he don't have not one friend in the FBI, Secret Service, any of these fucking places. They all hate him. So the smartest thing to do is to bring in guys like this guy, fucking Matt Gaetz. People already hate him. He can't be bought because he's already a fucking millionaire. His family is a millionaire. His dad is a fucking millionaire and was already in the fucking Senate. And what better thing to do but to pull this young man who's only been in Congress for 4 years and put him on your fucking team. And he's going to fucking hunt these motherfuckers down. The way he went at that guy, it said, yo, you, where's it at? The way he went at that guy and said, yo, you tried 2 dudes and you let them fucking win. The other dude that you tried, you gave him like a slap on the wrist and he's back to fucking this one right here. He fucking ate this guy up, bro. He ate this fucking guy up.
We contacted somebody that we knew had represented him in a part of the effort to try to locate him.
And you got the lawyer. And then now you're sitting here in front of the judiciary saying you could find the guy's lawyer, but you couldn't effectuate the service of a subpoena because you couldn't find him?
Well,
do you know how
first of all,
silly that sounds?
as you may or may not know, we wouldn't have the authority to serve a subpoena overseas. The lawyer didn't know where Mifsud was. He was in communication with him, but he claimed not to know where he was.
Oh, shit.
And we were trying to arrange an opportunity to talk to Mifsud.
Did you take possession of 2 BlackBerry phones from Mifsud in any way?
There were phones that were provided to us by
so you could find the
Mifsud's
phones
lawyer.
with the guy.
Correct?
Do you see how silly this looks? Like you found the lawyer, you found the phones, but the actual dude who got ordered by Western intelligence to go start this thing you couldn't find. It's kind of laughable. It seems like more than disappointment. It seems like you weren't really trying to expose the true core of the corruption. That you were trying to go at it another way.
Yeah.
He looks like
said
Jack,
in the
Jack
report,
Nicholson
and
right
we
here.
said in my opening remarks, we pursued the facts as best we could.
Well, how about
given the
this
tools
fact?
that we have?
Okay, how about this fact, Mr. Durham? The entire Mueller team does a hard reset on their Apple phone in synchronization to wipe away evidence. Did you investigate that?
I've read that.
Well, why did you investigate it? Who gave the order on the Mueller team to wipe the phones?
Yeah, that was not something that we were asked to look at, and we didn't.
No,
look
that's
at that.
not true, Mr. Durham. That is not true, because I'm holding the document that authorizes your activity, and it specifically says the investigation of Special Counsel Robert Mueller. It's in Mr. Chairman, I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record the order that says that you're supposed to investigate these things. And so, like, whether it's the Mueller team, MIFSUD, how about Azra Turk? Azra Turk, what's Azra Turk's real name? Do you know that?
I'm not going to be disclosing the names of FBI personnel that are otherwise unavailable.
But an FBI, so the FBI.
Yeah, that motherfucker crooked, B. That motherfucker's crooked, Q. He's dirty as a motherfucking piece of shit. He's fucking dirty.
FBI sends somebody to go honeypot George Papadopoulos. Who gave the order to do that?
I think that's beyond the scope of what's in the report.
It's literally the scope of what your charging order is. Who put it in motion? We get after it was put in motion, the FBI did a bunch of wrong and corrupt things. Totally understand. We're trying to deal with that. But when you are part of the cover-up, Mr. Durham, then it makes our job harder.
Yeah, well, if that's your thought, I mean, there's no way of dissuading you from that. I can tell you that it's offensive, and that the people who worked on this investigation have spent their lives trying to protect the people in this country and pursue within the law what it is that we are authorized to do.
You tried 2 cases, lost both of them, and then the one guilty plea you got, Kleinsmith is back to practicing law in Washington, D.C. today.
Yeah, that's beyond my control.
Right, but the fact that you allowed that plea to occur, right, and then the punishment was insufficient, the fact that you didn't charge Andrew McCabe, you didn't convict the lying Democrats or the lying Russians, you didn't investigate MIFSUD or the Mueller probe, even though, as we sit here today in black letter, that was your charge. Have you ever heard of the Washington Generals?
The Washington.
That's what Trump wants. That's what he wants. So that's Matt Gaetz. There's another guy that I'm going to do a thing on who people are hating this motherfucker too. They're trying to use the race card on this guy. And this gentleman, his name is Pete Hegseth. Military guy. The bitches love him. The bitches love him. You can't say shit bad about this motherfucker here, dog. They ain't gonna want to hear it. Because this is a no homo. This is a good looking dude. He's got all of these fucking accolades. And it don't matter what you do. A chick, that's just how they are, man. Check this out.
I think that he will do a great job.
Give Pete a chance.
Give Pete a chance.
Nice.
Thank you.
Very well done. Judge Janine.
I was ecstatic when I heard the news. You know, I mean, like Vivek, like Elon, he's an outsider. He's an America First guy. We all love him here. He is a great guy. He respects everyone. I mean, for those people who may not know him, I mean, he's got all the accolades necessary. I mean, it's the 2 Bronze Stars and what is it, the Combat Infantry Badge, et cetera, et cetera. He's written a bunch of books, and I agree the one on education is excellent. But even more important than that is the fact that he is so anti-DEI, anti-CRT, and he said he's going to start with the Joint Chiefs. And he's going to make sure that he weeds out those individuals, you know, who don't recognize that, their allegiance is to America first. And that's what we can count on Pete for. And I think it's also interesting that Elizabeth Warren would criticize him. She's defending Tim Walz, who lied about stolen valor, from carrying a weapon of war in war, from being on the tarmac of Bagram, to not ditching his own battalion the night before. And she wants to support Tim Walz, but not Pete Hegseth, who is the real combat infantryman who has spent his life fighting for the military, having people who were in the military have a voice, using him as pretty much the trumpet through whom they could speak. So I think it's symbolic that he was announced on Veterans Day and that night, and I think that it is a phenomenal pick. I am so excited for him.
Notice President-elect Trump nominating Pete Hegseth as a Secretary of Defense. Hegseth lives and breathes the military. It's in his DNA. He's a combat vet with 20-plus years of service. He did tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, receiving 2 Bronze Stars. Hegseth also has degrees from Princeton and Harvard, but we're not going to hold that against him. Pete also...
God damn, see what I'm saying? This motherfucker's a goddamn superstar, bro. This guy is a fucking superstar, bro. He's a fucking superstar. They love this motherfucker, except for the haters. Now, the haters actually have a reason to hate this motherfucker because they did him wrong. They did a lot of military people wrong. And Trump got this guy to get all the guys that they did wrong and point fingers at the motherfuckers and get them out of there. They out of there. All the motherfuckers in Washington are getting out. All of the woke generals are getting out. That big ugly fuck, this fuck, where this fucker at? Right here. Let me pull this picture up. This big fuck is getting out. This motherfucker here. Gone. Gone, you're going. When they put this person here in a military uniform, bro, that was a fucking disgrace. All of this shit is gone. That shit's gonna be they're getting rid of all that shit, bro. They're getting rid of all that shit. And he was on the Sean Ryan show. And Sean I didn't know this, but Sean Ryan was also a fucking Navy SEAL. I didn't know that. I don't know. Damn, you be on it, kid. You be on it. Hold on. This show right here was really a great.
Quote unquote falling at this point, it feels really far off. It just feels like it'll become an anemic shell of itself.
Yeah.
It'll be an anemic shell of itself, totally politically attuned, and they will conscript as necessary to meet. And then they'll just move the numbers, right? So the Army had a 25% and missed its recruiting goal, I think, with which we ricocheted around the world, intervening, think it was in our best interest, when really we just overturned the table and created something worse in almost every single scenario, has led to almost, I mean, the hubris of the Pentagon is that they want to now tell other countries how to do counterinsurgency based on what we
end with that.
Sure.
Because I have a lot of thoughts on that too. But I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I think about this all the time. I mean, you know, you watch the show. I've had active duty guys on. I've had the most badass American warriors that they don't all say it on camera. Out. They're all disgusted. They're all demoralized.
Totally.
I feel like the gas really got turned on when the defund the police movement happened.
I do.
Because I thought the defund the police, I was like, this isn't about this shit. They want to rid
that out because, and I can tell the story or not, but I was deemed an extremist because of a tattoo by my National Guard unit in Washington, D.C. And my orders were revoked to guard the Biden inauguration. But all of this, so you have what happened with George
What a
Floyd.
punishment.
I know. It's actually, you put it that way, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. But you had the George Floyd riots, and then I was also in the DC Guard during what happened in front of the White House. You remember the insurrection that no one calls an insurrection outside the White House when they, burned the church down and got to the gates of the White House. I was there the second night through the fifth night of all of that. I was a 04 major holding a riot shield because they didn't have enough guys. So we were just out there doing our thing and explain a little bit about that. That happens, then January 6th happens. And both of those moments become pretenses for the DOD with political appointees who've long since been burrowed in and generals who are all in for the politically correct agenda. They maybe kept their head down during Trump because he didn't want to hear about it. Guys like Milley, guys like Austin, they were right there waiting in the wings, ready to go. And once the combination of Floyd and January 6th happened, they went all in on DEI and CRT and transformation, focusing on patriot extremism. That's what we talk all about that in the book. Gadsden flags are signs of radicalism. Get the bumper sticker off your car. A Jerusalem cross tattoo, which is just a Christian symbol.
Is that the
this is the one?
Is that the tattoo?
Yep, right here. This one is what got me disinvited, I'd never had orders revoked before. I mean, listen, it's a standard deal.
So his tattoo, what they were focusing on, his tattoo is a what they call a Jerusalem tattoo. So I tried to see if it had any kind of affiliation with white supremacy, and like that. It has nothing to do with that. All that's are patriotic, man. All right. This is it's not really anything. And as a black guy, I'm gonna look and be like, well, what the fuck is that? So I've been looking, and it's nothing. It's nothing like that. But they waited and waited and waited, and they just couldn't wait for the right opportunity to get him out of there. They don't like people who are really super patriotic and stuff like that because they're not doing the right thing. So if you're not doing the right thing, you don't want somebody in there that's all about the right thing. But this guy, fuck, Princeton and Harvard? God damn. Princeton, Harvard, saved lives, fucking killed people, ducked bullets. This guy's fucking Captain America, man. This fucking guy's Captain America in real life. Yeah, it's just like this is a chance for us to go back to like the 80s, the 90s, but without the crackheads, without all of that bullshit. Some form of structure, your kids being safer than they are today, not being transformed and misguided and all of that shit. Strong military, strong economy. I'm with it, man. I'm with that shit. I'm tripping. He says they're gonna put a team together.
Even signing up to go to war for what? For what? Whose war? It's not our fucking war. We're funding the Taliban $40 to $87 million a week. A week. A week. They run the government over there. They're making passports for these guys, legitimate passports for these guys. They fly them all over South America and Central America. They funnel up through the southern border. It's not a fucking conspiracy. It's real. And like, so what are we going to use our military for? For Ukraine?
No.
So why would anybody sign up? What are you defending? What are you defending?
It's a great question. I mean, I think and that's why I reserved judgment to say I want to know what the world looks like in 4 years when you're 18.
And if we do, maybe you're right.
Or would they bring in pathway to
change something because they have
or
no
do
one.
they? Or do they? And will find a way. Here, all of your skepticisms about that. I've been a recovering neocon for 6 years now. Like the foolishness with which we ricocheted around the world, intervening, think it was in our best interest, when really we just overturned the table and created something worse in almost every single scenario, has led to almost, I mean, the hubris of the Pentagon is that they want to now tell other countries how to me. So you really have learned nothing. Okay, nothing. So yeah, you're right. The trust there is that completely. I'm with you too, completely. We're going to go. Yeah, there isn't an alternative right now to the United States military. There just isn't, and I don't want to lose patriotic influence over that. So my prayer, because if Donald Trump doesn't win and Kamala Harris is the commander in chief, what's happening inside our military is going to go on another level of warp speed. And you're going to see even more guys retiring, guys and gals retiring, and even more of the DEI woke focus, and it's going to continue to spiral. If Trump does win and goes at it, I think it might be our last sort of chance to save this institution and turn it back to what it was, because it is a top-down organization. You put a SecDef in there who's focused on all the right things, get rid of all the things that are described in the book, and focus on warfighting, lethality, and training and standards, real standards, not equity, but equality. You can do it. There's still the core there. But I share all your, I mean, what has Washington shown us in the last 20 years that we should trust them with how they'll use our young men? It's fair. I mean, Trump tried to use them on the border and they shut him down.
Our power grid's fucked. Our border's fucked. Our education system's fucked. Everything's fucked. That's the way it feels. Everything is fucked. And we're shipping all of our money overseas. And we should be, I mean, do you know anything about the power grid? Do you know what part of the to do is flip the switch 100?
And he's married to the daughter of Mullah Omar, and they're flashing. He's doing it because he's covering his ass. He knows something's coming
that shit?
at some point. And
that we're still in. Hey, what's up with this Gallagher guy? Is this real? Like what?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Even when they do it in a way we may not like, or the publicity that had come out because of it.
You remember that?
I remember that, yep.
In these guys that if they have to do their job and defend the country, that they're going to go to prison for the rest of their life. I mean, what? They demoralized the entire battalion that was doing that offensive push. And I mean, it's just, this has been a long process.
That's why I say the rules of war for winners, because why are we fighting an enemy? Why have we spent the last 20 years fighting enemies that don't abide by rules at all? And these are rules written by like dudes in cloakrooms in Europe after World War I, because they thought that they could fight polite wars in the future amongst European nations. When we live now in a world in 2024 where all of our enemies use all of their advantages against us, ignoring all the rules of war, and then expecting us to play by all those very same rules, where we're our largest critiquers in the middle of the process. And then we wonder why the war never ends and why it perpetuates itself, and then why we're throwing our own guys in jail. Because we've written rules that are impossible, that are written for us to lose.
Yep.
That are written for our guys to be in handcuffs. I mean, I got a similar brief. We had a JAG officer, JAG-off, brief our platoon in Iraq in 2005 in Baghdad prior to one of our first missions, and it was just standard ROE briefing. He's like, so you see a man in the road and he's carrying an RPG, but it's not yet pointed at you. And it was, an enemy. Can you shoot? My guy's like, hell yeah. They're like, no, you cannot. But you cannot shoot until he's pointing that weapon at you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just remember walking out, clear as day, I remember walking out of that briefing, pulling my platoon together and being like, God.
Yo, when I was in, and we carried a rifle, the M16 A2, and he was like, yo, you can't charge the weapon, meaning you can't put a round from the magazine into the chamber. So you can't chamber around, and it has to be on safety. So If you come up against somebody, you can't chamber around until they pose a threat. So you know how fucking long that's gonna fucking take to chamber around and put your shit on fire and then aim? Bro, by that time, the motherfucker been unshot your ass. What kind of dumb shit is that?
Guys, that we're not doing that. You know, like if you see an enemy and you know they're engaged before he's able to point his weapon at you and shoot,
Yeah.
we're going to have your back. And that comes back down to commanders. And I felt like I could say that because I knew I had commanders echelons above me who would have our backs in that process. And the New York Times and the left and Democrats would say, you know, all they do is take one incident and yell war criminal. They never actually understand the context of what happened. I mean, I got the same income on Eddie Gallagher. Don't touch this story. I talked to Seal. Don't touch it. Guilty as all hell. Guilty as all. And I just looked more and more. Same with Clint Lorenz. Same with Matt Goldstein. And the Raven 23 guys.
What is Matt Goldstein?
Matt Goldstein's a Green Beret. I can't remember all the particulars of it right now, but he was involved. A guy who they had rolled up, who had been involved in killing Americans, then had gotten released, and his sources were going to be killed, and he laid in basically an ambush on the guy when he was released and killed him because they knew that their sources were all going to be killed. Forgive me if that's wrong, something along those lines. He's probably going to watch and text me and be like, you're an idiot. So I'm sure I got some part of that wrong. He's one of the smartest, most patriotic guys you'll ever meet. I mean, you should have him on the show sometime. Guy's phenomenal. He got a pardon from Trump.
Nice.
And because the thing with Trump is
they be locking these motherfuckers up, man. Locking them up. Oh. Mark Milley retired, September 29, 2023, 10 days after Diddy got arrested. You mean 2024? Milley, yeah. Wow. It's coming up, the part that I want you to see.
Is if his wife Julie Goldstein gets how it connects, doing that. He calmly respects people way to the
Whoever gets into office to put like a team together of these guys that have been through what we're talking about, like Eddie, Brad Geary, Goldstein.
Yep.
Because one, they know who to go after because it's happening to them.
Mm-hmm.
That right, motherfucking yeah. And this was prior. So Trump won. So we already know, yeah, you know what? He's going to put in those motherfuckers. They're going to form this team and they know who to go after. A lot of people stepping down. Bro, they're about to clean that shit up. I think I would go if I could, but you know, my age, but if I was young, if they clean this shit up, I wouldn't be upset if my sons went in. I wouldn't be upset. Today, this shit, nah, because they done turned the military into a fucking scam. You were sort of thing with the trans shit in there, right? How they could fucking go to the military and our tax dollars to pay for their fucking transition. They'll be in there. They never have to qualify for a PT test, and they'll never have to be deployed. So I was like, yo, well, what about the PT test? He actually explained it. The PT test is kind of like asthma. You won't have access to an asthma pump when you're in the field, right? So if you need an asthma pump to help you fucking breathe, well, then you can't be out there, right? So it's the same thing. If you need this medicine, you might not have access to that medicine. And what are you going to start fucking tweaking out because you're not getting this medicine? So they never have to deploy, and they never have to complete a PT test. They can actually take tests and become promoted and all of that shit. It's crazy. And I found the military is the biggest employer of Where's it at? The U.S. military is the largest employer of transgender people in America. Why? Because they found a loophole. They found the fucking loophole. They found the fucking way to get in there and get their shit done. They say, oh, 4 years I go in there. I do my shit for 4 years. I come out, you know, da, da, da. So it's you know, something that got to be stopped with them.
Two, they're passionate about
Put
it.
Tim Parlatore on that list too, by the way. He's super smart.
Yeah, Tim would be.
He'd be good.
Tim would be a great wrecking ball.
He would.
A level-headed wrecking ball.
For the first time in my life, you know, I'm in the family business. It was my dad, my grandfather. We was a letter to my. I want to prominently the military allow itself to go woke. How did our general class? How did our military academies? How did military leaders who are expected to live by an ethos and a code, who's they're in the job of meritocracy and lethality, of excellence, of no excuses, of equality and unity, not equity and diversity is ours. The dumbest phrase on planet Earth in the military is our diversity is our strength. It's our unity is what unites us, our unity of effort, our ability to say, yes, we're different, but we come together as a team to accomplish a mission. So I spent the better part of a year and a half talking to vets, and not just vets, but connecting through a network of a lot of guys I know. I host my show on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in New York. So I've got Saturday afternoon wide open. And I spent, for months, my Saturdays just on the phone, off the record, anonymously with guys in service. So senior listed, junior officers, senior officers, all branches, MOSs, eras, but mostly guys in right now. Generals, private, standard dropping all the time, eggshells. I'm a commander, I walk on eggshells. I train commanders. They're walking on eggshells. They're afraid of one misstep on one identification or one gender thing or one racial thing or one trans thing. And the priorities are upside down on what the units are focusing on. And every single one of those distractions means we're less good at our job, which is supposed to be close with and destroy the enemy on behalf of our nation and bring our boys home. That's all I care about. That's what I want our military focused on. And so, yeah, I tell a few of my own stories in the book, but the book's not about me at all.
How do you think that this is happening?
Well, it's a long story. Well, I think it's because they're ideologues who want to bring a meritocracy to heel. That's where I think it starts. I think you have politicians who don't want to tolerate an institution. First, they want to use it to tinker. And then they also don't want to tolerate an institution that's antithetical to their social experiments. Because the military, you know,
I mean, if you want to destroy a government, you want to turn everybody, you know, you have an agenda to weaken masculinity. I mean, you have to go to the most masculine area of that country, which is their military. You got to make them all trans. You got to, give special incentives for them to be trans, for them to, to make it easy for them and all of that shit. I mean, just to find out that the military is the biggest employer of transgenders is crazy. How is this possible? How is this even possible, bro? When I saw this shit, I said, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. You gotta be kidding me. It's fucking bananas. So so Trump got the pick. Trump is the president-elect, and he's hired this super team of these guys, and they're gonna go in there and clean this fucking shit up. And I'm very, very glad that they actually got some real motherfuckers. This is like bringing, it's going to be an exciting 4 years to watch at bare minimum. At bare minimum, it's going to be exciting to watch. between him, Hegseth, between the Matt Gaetz, between this Tom Homan guy, the new border czar. They got a fucking an all-star team. They were going in on this freaking guy. Who's this asshole? What's this fuck face? The guy in what's this asshole, man? Yeah, right here. Right here. This guy. Brandon Johnson, bro. What a dick. You know, and it just shows that he was just upset that Trump won. So he's being a dick about it. How do you not want how the first you don't want the migrants, now all of a sudden you want them?
Good afternoon. I want to know, how does it feel that Trump is in office right now? Mayor Brandon Johnson, you underestimate us. You underestimate the black people, and you underestimate Chicago Red. We're the thorn in y'all side, and we're going to be the thorn on everybody else in this council member side too.
What about our real estate? Because see, we paid for these properties for a purpose and not for you to go touching it with $300 million that you want to siphon out of the citizens' pockets. Get rid of the illegals, and that'll take your money right back. Start it off with that.
Guy is worse than Lauren what her name? Lord Slewfoot, Clubfoot, right foot, left foot, Clubfoot, whatever you want. Bigfoot. I don't know. That lady had had clown shoes on one of them press conferences. Who put Beetlejuice in at mayor in Chicago?
Open.
Homegirl had the Beetlejuice shoes.
Oh shit!
And if she wasn't all awkward enough, she married a white woman. These people swear that white supremacy, and they go marry a white person. I don't know a single politician that's in a higher power, other than maybe one or two, that are married to the people of their race, and they advocate that the white man and white supremacy is taking over, but they're creating the white generation. What's her name? Vice President Kamala Harris, white man. Who did she vote for? A white man. Who did she make as her VP? A white man. Don Lemon, white man. Jean Pierre, I think she was a white woman. Clubfoot, Lori Dirtyfoot, white woman.
Lori Dirtyfoot.
Who else we got? Van Jones. I looked at one of his girlfriends. I had to look. Van Jones' last serious woman was a white woman. At least when I looked it up. Maybe he had a few dudes, a few other women in between. We could go down the list. AOC, white man. She was a white dude.
Wow.
Who else can I think about that's on the left of the back?
Good afternoon. I want to know, how does it feel to take matters in arms? I preserve the blue, and you can smirk all you want. Mr. Sims, direct your attention towards me, please. You're a criminal. Why do I got to address you? The feds need to address you. DOJ need to address you, and hopefully Donald Trump will address you. Because you're going to protect the undocumented, while you're going to allow for the citizens in Chicago to suffer under your, 33%? When C. Joe Lopez cooked that 3% up a long time ago. Y'all called it a circuit breaker. Y'all been talked about it. Remember, before you came in here and gave that jovial speech, you need to be inspected. You and that creep over there.
Acting like, you just gonna bully everybody. You got people, officers whose families don't even want you to come to the funeral.
Oh, shit.
You just like a schoolyard bully. That at some point, and you might not know nothing about it because you grew up in Elgin, but those of us who grew up on the south side and west side of Chicago, we all know at some point that bully gets cornered in the alley, and everybody come at him. And he ain't gonna have nobody to help him. That's you. That's you.
She said, that's you.
Keep thinking you ain't gonna abide by what the President of the United States said. Everybody know better than that. I see you, Anna Valencia, in your red. You know what it is. This is the second time you showed up and said council in red. You know what it is?
Yo, she back there Twitter fingering like a motherfucker. You see this? You see this lady right here? I'm like, yo, what is she?
Everybody know better than that.
God,
I see you, Anna Valencia, in your red. You know what it is. This is the second time you showed up in city council in red. You know what it is? Yeah. Yeah.
You know what it is, nigga. You know what it is. So, shit, I forgot to show you this here. So, when Trump nominated him, it's like, yo, why y'all on this guy's dick, man? Trump nominated him. Now they want to say fellow National Guardsman told superiors Hegseth might be insider threat before Biden inauguration. All right. What's this here?
Hey, Vlad, good to see you. Yes, this pertains.
Vanity Fair was first to report that it's not Seth, it's Pete. Pete Hegseth was investigated for an alleged sexual assault in October of 2017. Hegseth's lawyer said that the allegation was, quote, investigated by the Monterey Police Department, and they found no evidence for it. CBS News political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns is in West Palm Beach and joins us now. Caitlin.
Campaign, or I should say the transition team now, it's the transition team, writing back against all of this. Let me read you the statement from the transition team. President Trump is nominating high caliber and extremely qualified candidates to serve in the administration. Mr. Hegseth has vigorously denied any and all accusations, and no charges were filed. We look forward to his confirmation as U.S. Secretary of Defense so he can get started on day one. And this comes up
fucking U.S. Secretary of Defense. Soverhover. Yo, I learned a long time. Be nice to everybody on your way up, because you just might see them on your way down. Big facts. But so, yo, I'm gonna do another one on this guy. We pretty much covered it tonight, but you know, I'm gonna do a series. So we did Matt Gaetz tonight. We're gonna do Tom Homan, not Ted Cruz, Pete Hegseth, and the rest of the peoples. But be advised, everybody in Trump's joint, everybody has money. Everybody has money. And like I said, that I feel like that is because Trump feels if you already have money, you come from money, you have a lot of money, no one can buy you. If you got a guy or a gal and they're making 150,000, 200, you could still bribe them with $1 million, $2 million. Yo, listen, man, you know, we'll give you 500,000, we'll give you $1 million, da, 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 da. They could still be bought. But if these guys come from money, they already got the fucking boats, they already got this, they already got the cars, you know, they're less likely to be bought. Even certain jobs, man, they won't hire you because, you know, if your credit is bad, you know, they're like, that's a sign to them. Well, shit, man, his credit's bad. He's probably, you know, hungry for money. He'll be easy to flip. Right? So Trump's a fucking thinker, man. Highly impressed. Highly impressed. But yeah, I'm about to wrap it up. Thanks a lot for coming out and sticking with me, Q. Appreciate you, my guy. I'm gonna check you out tomorrow if you pull up, all right? I should be getting something tomorrow too. I'm kind of excited about having it. You're gonna see a big ass Trump flag on this motherfucker. All right, yo, I'm gonna holler at you later, champ. Peace.